Good afternoon and welcome to NMS. I want to talk to you about how to grow the hamstrings today because a lot of people get really confused on exactly what they're supposed to do for the hamstrings. So let's go over a little bit of anatomy, and then once we've done that anatomy, we'll probably have a better understanding of exactly what the hamstrings do. So let's start with the biceps femoris. There's two heads of the biceps femoris. There's a short head and there's a long head. Now the long head actually attaches up into the hip. Okay, so it follows this and attaches right up, okay, onto the ischial tuberosity of the pelvic bone, okay? Now what this actual muscle group does is it extends the hip, flexes the knee, and laterally rotates the leg when the knee is flexed, okay? So lateral means that you turn your knees out, okay? The biceps femoris short head, the origin is at the linea aspera of the femur, so just here, okay? And the insertion is at the head of the fibula. Okay, so very much similar to what the biceps femoris long head is. And it flexes the knee and laterally rotates the leg. Okay, doesn't matter whether it's flexed or not, it still laterally rotates the leg. Now, the next lot of muscles we've got is the semitendinosus. You can see that one here. Okay, now it also joins onto the femur. Okay, and the medial surface of the proximal tibia. Okay, so on the inside here. Okay, it extends the hip joint, flexes the knee joint, and medially rotates the leg. Okay, medially rotates means turns inward. Semimembranosus. Okay, you can see that here and here. Okay, it's pointing to two regions. The origin is the ischial tuberosity of the femur. Okay, and the insertion is the posterior surface of the medial tibial condyle. It extends the hip, it flexes the knee, and it medially rotates the leg. Okay guys, we've got the boring anatomy out of the way. Now what we're going to talk about is the exercises that we can use and how those exercises are going to affect the hamstrings. Okay, so first of all, we've got a Nordic curl pictured above. Now the Nordic hamstring curl, okay, basically this is a movement that they use for, hamstring activation and hypertrophy, but highly effective increasing strength and helping with injury prevention. This is an exercise that they use in a lot of sports medicine, right, to train very weak hamstrings to prevent hamstring tears, especially with sprinters, okay? Especially with sports where sprinting is obviously key to that sport. Now, it's great for developing eccentric strength. Now, that means the slow movement down creates strength in that eccentric phase, but it may encourage architectural adaptations and beneficial for growth. Okay, now the architectural adaptations is a change of actual position of the joints. Okay, and it does that by obviously creating certain strength within the hamstrings that then align joints. Okay, the next exercise we've got is a leg curl. Now there's either a seated version, a lying version or prone version, and a standing version. Now, the best one of these is the seated version. The seated version, because it gives more hamstring stretch, it's probably the best one. Unfortunately, in my gym, we don't have one, so I've been using a lying leg curl, but it's still beneficial for the hamstrings. The seated one is supposed to be a little better, okay, when they've done hamstring studies. Hip hinge movements, okay, so you've got Romanian deadlifts, you've got stiff leg deadlifts, you've got hyperextensions, and you've got good mornings, okay? All of them hinge the hip and you extend up, and because the hamstrings, as you can see, join pretty much onto the hip, okay, what that does is that creates a hip extension, okay? So along with the glutes, it helps to extend the hips, okay? And then after that, we've got hip extension variants. So you've got a straight leg bridge, okay? So when you do the bridge, you bridge up, right, with the legs straight. That will actually affect the hamstrings. And upright hip extensions, and you can do leg curls also from a bridge position. I had to do this during COVID when I didn't have a leg curl machine. Very good for hamstrings, still not as good as a lying leg curl or a hip hinge movement, but still very good. And the final one is a lying kick movement where you actually lay on the floor and you kick your legs up with your feet together. Very much for glutes, but also does the hamstrings. And EMG studies show that both the Nordic curl and also the lying kick are two very good movements for the hamstrings. All right, now we get to the nitty-gritty part. So what do we actually do for the hamstrings? How do we program them? Number one, start with a leg curl variation. So you can do, obviously, like I said, the seated, the lying, or the standing leg curl machine. Seated being the best, lying being probably the second best. I've never liked the standing curl version. I tend to find that a lot of people don't do it correctly. And personally for me, I never really found it very good for the hamstrings. Next up, we can do either a good morning, a Romanian deadlift, a hyperextension or a glute ham raise, or a stiff leg deadlift. Now, Romanian deadlifts, stiff leg deadlifts, very similar. Has a little bit to do with the range of motion and also the amount of knee flexion you allow, but very similar movements, okay? They hinge the hips. Good mornings are very good. You just got to watch your back as well. Hyperextensions I really love, but it's very hard to get people to go and not extend through their back and extend more through the hips, okay? Takes a little practice on that one. And a glute ham raise is really just, it's a hyperextension, but you're actually more in a horizontal position and you lower from here down and then extend back up, okay? Still a very good variation, just more load at the top. Hyperextension, more load because of the fact that you're at a 45-degree angle, you get more tension in the stretch position, okay? Now, finally, you can add negatives to that. That would be your Nordic curls, okay? Nordic curls, obviously you go very slow on the way down, okay? And then you come back up. And what you do with that is, get that really strong eccentric movement and then extend up, okay? And really what you're doing when you extend up is you're actually flexing the hamstrings and bending the knee joint, okay? I'll put a picture up so that you can see it. If you like, you can add a floor kick to finish off the hamstrings. Personally, I've never done them in my program, but according to the research I've done, apparently very good movements. I might give them a go and I'll report back and I'll let you guys know how it actually works. Okay, my program at the moment, I do a lying leg curl, 3 sets of 15 to 8 to warm up, 2 heavy sets of about 6 to 8 reps. Because I said I don't have a seated leg curl, I do a lying leg curl. I next do the assisted Nordic hamstring curl. We have a really good one in our gym. Those are really good, 2 sets of about 5 to 6 reps on that, okay? I go pretty much body weight, or I try to add to my body weight, and then I emphasize a really slow negative and a controlled positive. Finally, guys, my final exercise for me is normally a Romanian deadlift, okay? I like to do the Romanian deadlift. What I like to do is I actually like to keep the knee a little bit bent, keeps the back from, the ligaments in the back from being too highly stressed if you've got a bit of a knee bend, okay? And also helps to use the glutes. I do it a little bit similar to a deadlift variation where what I do is I go down with a deadlift and rather than bending my knees too much, I keep the knees a little bit straighter and I do a lot of the movement more with the hip hinge movement rather than with a deadlift using a little bit more of a knee bend. Okay, so it's just a variation on a deadlift, but mine's a Romanian deadlift with a touchdown. Okay, give those a go guys. Like put it into your program, try different things with your hamstrings, but generally speaking, 1 lying leg curl, 1 Nordic curl if you can do it. Okay, I do an assisted one if you've got like some sort of bench that you can hook your legs under, or a barbell you can hook it under. Make sure you put some padding under the knees because otherwise you're going to have very sore knees from it. And some sort of hip hinge movement. Can't go wrong, guys. Doesn't have to be Romanian deadlifts. Can be hyperextension, can be good mornings. It's which one you find works best for your hamstrings to get the feel. But hamstrings, guys, little complicated, but really if you remember that the 2 basic movements are a knee flexion or a hip extension. Thanks for listening, guys. Comment below. If you like these videos, by all means, I'm going to be doing more. Give me some feedback so I know what you want more in other videos. Take it easy, guys. Subscribe, like, comment.